It's been less than 1 week now since the passage of President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri already hedging a bit, saying he will work to make sure a key Medicaid provision of that package never takes effect. At an event in Missouri this week, Senator Hawley touted a little-known part of the bill that expands funding for victims of nuclear waste, an issue he's worked on for many years, and is why he says he was willing to vote in favor of the reconciliation package despite wanting to make sure certain Medicaid cuts don't happen.
You hate, if I could say that, some pieces of this bill, but you voted for it. Why did you choose that strategy?
Got to take the wins that you can. For me, getting RECA passed, getting health care expanded in Missouri for these survivors. I almost said the word victim. I hate that word. For survivors, these heroes. This is a multi-year journey, and this was the chance to do it. The provider cuts that are now not going to affect Missouri until the 2030s, my goal is to make sure those never take effect, I'll be honest with you.
How?
Well, by legislation. I mean, listen, they don't affect Missouri until 2030, and between now and then, Missouri gets $1 billion in increased rural hospital funds. That's great for our state. But the truth of the matter is we shouldn't be cutting rural hospitals. I'm completely opposed to cutting rural hospitals, period. I haven't changed my view on that one iota. We were able to delay it. We were able to get a plus-up in funding for Missouri, which is terrific. But we shouldn't cut rural hospitals. I think it's a mistake. I've said that from the beginning, and my view hasn't changed at all. So I'm going to work with anybody across the aisle, I don't care who it is, to make sure we do not cut rural hospitals ever, period.
It's a mistake, period, and I just voted for it. Senator Hawley talking to NBC's Julie Sirkin there. The sweeping domestic policy bill narrowly passed the Senate last week. You'll remember it needed Vice President J.D. Vance to break the tie there. It means if Senator Hawley had voted against the legislation, it would not have had the numbers to pass. MSNBC contributor Mike Barnicle joins us now. So this is the beginning, Mike, of what Republicans are going to face back in their states, back in their districts, which is you voted on the record for something that is going to cost us rural hospitals, among many other things.
City by city, state by state, it's going to happen. They're going to have to answer for it. They voted for it. They're going to have to live with it, and their constituents are going to be damaged by it. Every state, every city, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. They're going to be damaged.
John, it's hard to see how a voter is convinced of that argument, which is it's a mistake, except I voted for it, and I'm going to somehow use my powers in the Senate and work across party lines to take out the pieces of it, like the elimination of rural hospitals that I don't like.
Yeah, there was certainly a moment for the senator there to work to get rid of the parts of this bill he didn't like. That'd be before he voted for it, before it now becomes law. And we saw there he's twisting himself into knots to try to rationalize why he voted for it, to try to suggest maybe there's a way down the road where he could undo pieces of it. That's just going to fuel, Joe, the voter cynicism about the entire process, about why it happened the way it did in Washington. And it certainly appears that, for someone there in Missouri, a state, Senator Hawley himself, some months ago, said, look, these cuts are going to be devastating to my state. Right. Those voters are going to look at him and just say, well, you cared more about your fealty to the party, to the president, than you did for us.
Well, and tax cuts to billionaires.
Yep.
And tax cuts to multinational corporations. Let's not play this game that you can just pick out one side of the bill and let the other side of the bill move forward. There's a reason why Republicans slashed rural hospital funding. There's a reason why Republicans slashed health care funding. And the reason they slashed health care funding is because it was the only way they could get enough cuts to get other members of their party to support the massive tax cuts for billionaires and multinational corporations. You don't have one without another. Because if Josh Hawley and Lisa Murkowski and red state governors or senators had not voted to slash health care in their states, rural health care in their states, then none of this would have ever passed. And so you can't pretend, Willie, that you can have tax cuts for the billionaires, that you can have tax cuts for the multinational corporations, that you can have tax cuts for the monopolists in Silicon Valley, that you can have tax cuts for the richest people on the planet. You can't pretend that you can have that without the coinciding slashing of rural health care spending. So they had to slash health care to give their billionaire buddies in Silicon Valley and on Wall Street tax cuts. Josh Hawley knows that. Lisa Murkowski knows that. They just voted to give billionaires, multinational corporations, and people who run monopolies in Silicon Valley tax cuts because they value that, obviously, more than they value the people in their own state who are going to see health care slashed. And Willie, by the way, you've brought it up, other people brought it up. There's something called an amendment process. If you don't like something that's in a bill, you can put an amendment on the floor that will stop health care from being slashed in Missouri and Alaska and North Carolina and Maine and other rural states. They just didn't do it. So don't tell me you're going to do it in 2030 when you could have done it last week. I mean, I don't know how stupid he thinks the people of Missouri are, but make no mistake, Josh Hawley, as well as Lisa Murkowski, they voted for tax cuts, biggest tax cut ever for billionaires and multinational corporations and monopolists. They voted for that while also voting to slash health care in their home states. Good luck trying to explain it. You're not going to get those cuts down the road. You voted for those cuts this week.
And the argument that I had to hold my nose and vote for this because I like some parts and not others also will not pass the smell test among Missouri voters. As you say, there's a reason that once principled conservatives in the Senate were speaking out about this bill in the lead up before going to vote for it later, saying it's too big. We're not going to vote for this. There's too much in it. If you wanted an immigration bill, which many people would have supported in this country to strengthen border security and do some other things, do a bill on immigration. If you want to increase military spending, you can do that as well. But when you throw so much into the stew all at once, you own all of it when you vote for it. And we saw Senator Hawley dealing with that yesterday.